You know, it's hard to believe that with all the momentum that Donald Trump had going into this election, all the stops he was making, 5 a day leading up to this election, it's really hard to believe that the Democrats were able to cheat their way into a position right now where they're actually challenging and contesting the results of this thing. But alas, that is where we are, right? So who's going to win, Trump or Biden? I guess that's the question. And rather than really focusing too much on that question, what I want to do today is I want to encourage you a little bit. I want to talk about what is the good news that we can extrapolate from all this, right? I'm Greg D, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. You are watching Americana X Newswatch. This is a show that brings you a common sense perspective to our weekly news cycle. This show is for conservatives that are interested in what's going on behind the sensationalized headlines. If you're new here, welcome to the show. If you've been here before, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Also, share this video out to people in your network so that we can continue to encourage a greater America. And look, we're still going to be here. Regardless of who is president, we're still going to be encouraging a greater America because there is still, I believe, a majority of Americans that really believe America is a great place and they do want to see it be the best nation it can be. So we're just going to keep being encouragers of that and we're going to stay optimistic, you know? It's a funny thing. We live in a time here where Democrats, they have such a vested interest in promoting negativity and pessimism and getting people to focus on the negative, you know, how bad our country is, how awful everything is. And they've taken it so far. I don't understand really how even the leaders in a lot of our Democrat-run states are so invested in staying in that really harsh, negative mindset, but they are, and they're willing to fight for it tooth and nail. They're willing to fight at a state level to try to hurt a national election the best they possibly can, and that's what we're seeing right now, you know? Good news. Okay, so I wanted to focus on the good news, all right? Right here at the top of the show, I want to say I believe that the good news is this. Donald Trump is still going to be the president of the United States after this whole debacle blows over, after this sort of kerfuffle is worked out. Donald Trump he's out too far ahead of Biden in too many of the important swing states for Biden to close the gap there, even with lying and cheating and trying to ultimately steal the election. Liberals right now, they are executing a lot of cheating on a lot of levels right now. And it's clear, you know, but ultimately I don't think they're going to be able to flip the election. The gap is just too large to close. You know, I guess what I would say is this. Let's focus on just a couple of the downsides here of what we're going to see come out of this. At least this is the way that I see it right now in my analysis. Main downside is all of this confusion that's being created by the liberals right now will create a Democrat Party downstream, like going forward from this in 2021. It's going to create a Democrat Party that is going to dig their heels in more on all of the things that they've been standing for. Basically, the reality they've been trying to define to us based on racial strife or racial division and race, based on class warfare, although that's less extent, more it's race warfare they want to stoke, but you know, pitting sexes against each other, all these things that their party base is built on right now. They're not going to learn any lessons from this election. They're going to keep pushing identity politics. They're going to keep pushing basically fictional narratives of all sorts based on oppressor versus oppressed. It's sad, but that is what the Democrats have set up here. If they just would have let the election play out and not get in its way and try to gum it up, particularly in our Democrat-run states, then it would have been a nice, easy smooth victory for Donald Trump. We would have had him give his election acceptance, his victory acceptance speech last night. We would have cruised in, and then they would have had an opportunity to really do that reflection they need to do to really reform their party so that by 2024, they can put forward a candidate that is really going to be strong. It's really going to be excellent. It's really going to play in the new era of politics in a way that Donald Trump was able to play in it. But sadly, I don't think that's what we're going to get now. I think that what we're going to get is another round, even in 2024, as sad as it sounds, where we have big money donors inspiring a class of Democrats to push identity politics again. It's really sad and tired. Such a bummer on that side, right? Because they're missing an opportunity to learn the actual lessons that they failed to learn in 2016. They had a chance then to learn these lessons, didn't do it then. And they're in such denial now, all they can do is try to destroy the victory that Donald Trump has in 2020. That's all they've got. Very sad. If all they've got is trying to undo or trying to create havoc within the system to overthrow what the majority wants, that says that they really are not interested in truthfulness. They're not interested in honesty. They're not interested in actually making the country better. I was honestly hoping that it would be a complete landslide in this election so that the Democrats would have no other choice but to reevaluate their entire party. Alas, that's not what we're going to see. Looks like they found a way to protect themselves from having to face reality again. And when I say reality, face the fact that their ideas, they're basically not popular. They're not going to have to face that now. They can continue to push the platforms, the ideology, and the ideas, the agenda that is not popular with most of the people, but keeps them in power. Maybe it'll take them attempting to execute identity politics in 2024, and then lose again. It's hard to tell at this point if that's what it's going to take for them. Maybe it will, take them being funded again by big money donors and entities and whatnot. Then attempt to cheat the American people again in 2024, I mean, it's very sad to actually see almost like a repeat of 2016, only everything's amped up a lot more by them, because what did the founder of Google say back at the end of 2016 election? He was like, we can't let this happen again. I think they were serious about it. I think his words there, him being the leader of his company, his oligarchy, he was promoting in that moment in time, my whole staff, my whole company is going to be committed to getting the Democrat Party elected and keeping the Republican Party out. And we're going to do everything we can. And they did. And, they almost got away with it in this election cycle. It's really scary. Maybe they'll get away with it next time because they'll get even better at censoring conservatives, framing conservative and Republican Party in a specific way so they can destroy it and pull it down. Hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping something steps in to disrupt that in the next 4 years. I am hoping that the politicians that are catching on to what the big tech has been doing up in San Francisco, they're able to dismantle that, maybe through monopoly laws or maybe by using that, what is it called, Section 230, repealing that or reversing that so that the big tech companies aren't protected by basically protections that were reserved for things like the phone company, where, it's just a company that's there to facilitate conversations. But they're, the way they've been abusing that, they have been stepping in and editorializing and then censoring. And of course, they either need to stop doing that or they need to lose their 230 exemption. The Democrat Party, they have become the party of lying and cheating. In fact, because they've been so enabled by the big tech companies and because the mainstream media is 90% in the pocket of the left, they've become more bold, more brazen, and honestly, more unscrupulous in the way they've gone about it, particularly in the run-up here in this 2020 election. It's really ugly, but what is there to stop them? If they've got the mainstream media on their side, they've got the tech companies on their side, they've got entertainment industry and entertainers, they've got the full education system on their side, what is the agency that's going to stop these people? And when we look at like state level, you've got governors and all sorts of bureaucratic agents that are clearly on the side of the Democrats, particularly in our Democrat-run states, that will do anything to try to stop the president from making progress. They would even destroy their own communities by allowing rioting and looting and crime and theft and physical violence. They will allow that to happen in their cities and states so that they can somehow hurt Donald Trump. And that's what they've been invested in. That's why they got to double down now and try to hurt this election, or try to put the result of this election in question. But I do want to take it back to the good news. There is what I see as a silver lining to all this. Of course, I'm talking about what's going on because I'm being real about it. We're addressing what's really going on, right? But we also want to bring it always back to what is the positive that we can take away from this? How can we keep our focus there? Because ultimately, I want to be an encouragement to you, the people out there that are watching my content. I want to help you stay in that positive psychology, because ultimately, if you're a conservative, that's what you always want to default to. The good news is that Donald Trump will be the winner at the end of this short debacle. Okay, so we're going to go through this time. It's going to be all right. Okay, we're going to make it through this. And even though it won't be a resounding landslide victory, as I was projecting rolling up to the election, which honestly, I think it should have been a landslide victory for Donald Trump. But, if it weren't for the cheating of the liberals, and if it weren't for the insidious nature of their psychology and the way that they go about, they're not winning on ideas, so they'll do anything they can to try to hurt and tear our country down to get what they want. Look, at least we protect our country for the next 4 years from complete going off the cliff liberal insanity. And that's what we do by having Donald Trump still there as our president. We keep the sanctity of America. We do have still, most of the people in America are proud to be Americans. They love our country. And by having Donald Trump still there in office, it's a bulwark against the liberal left just literally installing all sorts of insane stuff to take our country in a really negative direction. So stay encouraged. Our country is not going to be destroyed by the left. Not this year anyways. And maybe in the next 4 years, we can do enough as conservatives under Donald Trump as our president to maintain and sort of put in a firewall of sorts that will allow us to maintain America, conserve our great nation, even going forward into 2024 when we have another presidential election. All right, guys, stay encouraged. We're going to get through this time. It's just a week or two until we get the actual results, and then we will move forward from there. Like I said, it's not necessarily a complete landslide. In fact, that's actually the next video I'm going to make here in a little while after I post this one. I'm going to talk a little bit more about, hey, look, all right, it's not a landslide, but where do we go from here? All right, so tune into that video. For now, let me know what you think of this little conversation here in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know. Until next time, this has been Americana X Newswatch. I'm Greg D, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. We will see you next time.